What's up, everyone? How you doing? What's going on? This is another episode of Mobile Coffee with Colin. I'm here in my hotel room in Nashville, Tennessee. What's going on? Happy Monday. Hope you guys are having a great beginning to your week. Hope you had a great weekend. And I'm excited tonight because we have a beautiful actress on the show tonight. And I can't wait to talk to her about some business stuff. We're going to be talking some shop. And she's a beautiful woman from Canada, and she's the co-star of Kevin Smith, who you guys know I had on Coffee with Colin here I think it was last season. But yeah, we are trucking along with our season. I hope you guys have been enjoying it. Thanks for being here. While we are here, as you know, you can type in your questions on the right-hand side for my guest tonight. And we've got Elizabeth in the house, Faith, Connie, Nick, Jeanette, what's going on? Thanks for being here, and can't wait to get into another inspiring conversation. So tonight's guest, ladies and gents, is from, like I said, Canada, and she's a beautiful woman, and she's a super successful actress because what she has been able to do over the past 10 years on the show that she works on is something that is unheard of in the acting industry. There are like the top 0.00001% of actors who are able to be on a TV show and maintain the longevity that my next guest has been able to maintain over the past 10 years. And I know you guys have seen her show, and I can't wait to talk about her character and how she got into acting and all that great stuff. Again, as you know, before we introduce my lovely guest, make sure you guys download the Particular app, because at the end of the show, I'm going to be asking my guest about her favorite 6 movies. And that way you'll be able to find out where you can watch those movies. And you can also check out my lit list, what my favorite movie recommendations are. So again, all you got to do is go to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store and download the Particular app. And you'll be able to share your movies with all your friends and be able to get some great movie recommendations, including the ones from tonight. All right, without further ado, this lovely lady I'm gonna have to ask her about this. She grew up in the Kootenays. I'm very curious to know where the Kootenays is, and I'm probably not even pronouncing that correctly. She grew up there and then later went on to achieve her BFA in acting from the University of Alberta. And throughout her career, she has worked in theater, film, and TV. She's been awarded a Gemini Award for her work on Intelligence and a Leo Award for her work on Sanctuary. I'm jealous that she's won these awards. I've yet to win an individual award, but I'm going to ask her about that. She has spent the last 9 years, and now she just finished season 10, playing the character Rosemary Coulter on Hallmark Channel's much beloved TV series, When Calls the Heart, as well as appearing in numerous movies for Hallmark channels such as Perfect Bride, Wedding Bells, My One and Only, and You Had Me at Aloha, which she co-produced along with her co-star, Kevin Smith. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Miss Pascale Hutton.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Of course. Well, Kevin showed up. I guess I had to.
Yeah.
I can't let him be the final word on everything.
And Jeanette Stevens loves you.
Jeanette, we love Jeanette. She's our hearty number one right there.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Jeanette, for being here. And again, guys, if you have questions for Pascal, please type them in on the right-hand side here. And Pascal, it's coming up to the holiday season here. Are you getting ready for the holidays?
I am. We've just finished filming season 10, and I really don't do much else other than the schedule is just all encompassing, it feels like, when we're filming. And then I have a family, and so I feel like I'm a bit behind this year. I think I'm kind of scrambling. So right now I'm working really hard to get ready for the holidays.
Yeah, and you're married and you have 2 kids, right?
That's right.
Okay. And how old are your kids?
They are 8 no, they're 7 and 12. They're 7 and 12.
7
Yeah.
and 12. All right. So I'm sure the holidays are still super fun with them and
Oh, absolutely. They're magical, and I love every second of it. Yeah.
awesome. Very cool. Well, I like to start out by asking you, you've been um, acting for quite a while. Was acting something that you always wanted to do from an early age, or did you know other actors? Did you think that that was in the realm of possibility of what you could do as a career?
I grew up in a really theatrical kind of home. My mom was always writing plays for me and my sisters to perform in, or me and my sisters and our cousins. If it was a bigger production, we would enlist my cousins or the neighborhood kids. And my mom was always doing that all the time. That's what our childhood was. And so performing and playing characters, that was always there right from an early age. But I also grew up in a really small town and in the Kootenays, not the Kootenays.
Cookies? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, the Kootenays in a small town,
Cookies. Okay.
and so, um, there weren't any actors, there weren't any professional actors. I honestly, I only thought actors, Hollywood, that was it, and that Hollywood seemed just, so out of my realm of
Yes.
possibility. It just honestly never even occurred to me, and so I just did it because it was super fun, and I love to do it, and I love to perform, and I love to create characters. And my mom ran like a weekend theater, uh, like drama club for kids. And
Mhm.
so we didn't have a choice. Me and my sister, we had to be in it because how who was looking after us
Yeah.
if we weren't there. But it was interesting. My mom always let me participate, but I was like the youngest in the class, and so she never would let me have a role in the big production. I I went through many years with no role. Like she wouldn't let me have a part because she was like, no, you're too little. So I feel like that kind of, and I really desperately wanted a role. And so it kind of created this hunger of going like, okay, I guess I've got to really prove myself. I've got to work hard at this.
Mhm.
And then again, I just like, was always in school plays, and I did dance and piano, like the arts and performing was always a big part of it. But it wasn't until I was in high school that I had, and this is a very typical story, I think. A new drama teacher came into the school when I was in high school, and she was the one who said, no, you need to do this, and you need to go and study, and you need to pursue this beyond high school plays. And there is a career for you. And it could look like many different things. It doesn't have to be the Hollywood actor who's performing in or who's starring in blockbuster movies. Like that doesn't have to be what it is. And so it was from that I actually didn't know where I was going to end up, but I was going to pursue it because I loved it so much.
And so your parents were supportive of this, but were they saying like, all right, Pascal, you got to get a degree in accounting because if this acting thing doesn't work out, you got to have something to fall back on?
No, they were pretty like my mom was always really my mom my dad always thought I my dad always thought I was too smart to be an actor. His idea was that actors were a bit flaky. And my mom, who had, studied acting in university, she knew that actors are really usually like the good ones are really highly intelligent. And so she was the one who was like, no, 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 this is good. Like she's smart and she can do this and she wants to do this. So let's support her. And so that was about it. They wanted me to go to university just because they value higher education and they value the experience of being in university as a life experience, not as a way to get a career, but just as a life experience. And so I went to university, and that's why then I got a degree. I got my BFA in acting, and that was like a conservatory program within the university. So they would audition people across Canada for 12 spots, and then those 12 people would be who you were going to be with for your entire degree. And so that's what I ended up doing, and my parents were hugely supportive of that. They always came to see all my shows, and they didn't really know what it was going to look like on the other side of my degree. I think they just always believed that if you're pursuing something, it's going to lead you somewhere, who knows where.
Mhm. And with acting, I mean, the odds of actually getting real acting work are pretty slim. And in my book that I wrote, I did the calculations looking back at my 20-year career, and essentially, on the average of going on like a few hundred auditions every year, I had calculated I'd roughly gone on about 2,000 auditions, and I've got like 40 something credits on IMDb, so it's about a 2% success rate.
That sounds like a really depressing exercise
Yeah,
to do.
yeah,
That's something I never want to do.
yeah. And so when you look at it from a statistical standpoint, the chances of doing getting real acting work is low. But I just loved it so much. I didn't look at it from that perspective. I just looked at it from, this is what I love, this is what I want to do, and whatever I need to do to find out how I can keep doing this, whether it was getting outside jobs and
Yeah.
real estate or doing, waiting tables, whatever I needed to do. Have you been in that position where you faced the challenge of like, okay, I've got to, if this is really what I want to do, I've got to find ways to make this happen. I guess my question is, what challenges have you had to overcome in your career to get to where you're at?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had all the normal challenges. I had no connections. I came out of my university program with my degree and with a lot of knowledge and a lot of like gumption, but I had no connections in the business. And so I really had to build that up from the ground myself. And fortunately, like there, you hear any actor who has any level of success, and they will, I hopefully readily admit that there's a certain element of luck to it. So I had a little bit of luck in terms of certain little gifts that were kind of handed me along the way that kind of kept me going. One was I graduated from university and we did this audition tour where we were auditioning. I really thought I was pursuing a career in theater. I had not even occurred to me film and television. There was no film and television focus in the theater program that I did. And so it just, again, didn't really occur to me. So we did this cross Canada audition tour where we were auditioning for all the major theater companies. And fortunately, in that process, there was an agent that saw my stuff, and she reached out and she said, "I'd like to represent you." And so that was just a gift. I wasn't pursuing it. She contacted me. So that was great. And it was like a little start, like off the start marks, right? So that was one thing that happened. But I mean, when I graduated, I was on my own. And so I was figuring out how I was going to pay my bills. I had to do that. And I certainly wasn't getting enough acting work to do that at that time. So I waited tables, I hostessed, I did, I mean, I remember, I had a little bit of theater, like I did a few theater jobs that kept me sustained for a little bit. And my husband, he got a job because we were really like scrambling, like we weren't married at the time, but trying to make money. And he got this job, like guarding a hole. It was like a construction site that was like this big hole in the middle of this field, and he was guarding the hole. So I would go with him to just like, or I'd like bounce things off with him, like it was just, you do what you'd have to do to pay bills and to keep going and to keep focused in the direction you're going to go in. And then I think once I got the film and TV, so the first audition I got sent on, I ended up booking it. And it was, again, like that's just a little gift that made me go, oh, maybe this is something. Maybe there is something here. And I immediately loved being on set. I loved that experience. I loved how fast it moved. I loved how, like you had to make quick decisions about your character and performance because it just moves fast. It just moves fast. And I really like that. And so that was enough to kind of keep me going forward of going, oh, maybe I'll pursue that a bit more. And then then pretty quickly, a couple months later, I booked this part. It was the role of Farrah Fawcett's daughter in Hollywood Wives, and it was a big role. It was like one of the lead roles in the movie, and I did make a couple connections there of people, and not that they were helping me, but like get further in my career, but they were big voices saying, like, Farrah Fawcett and Jackie Collins, they were like, you need to, at the time I was living in Calgary, which is a pretty small city with no film and TV per se. And they were like, you need to leave. You need to leave Calgary, and you need to, at the very least, go to Vancouver. And so then I was like phoning up agents in Vancouver saying, can you take me on? And I'll come. I went and had some meetings. And the agent that I ended up with is still, like, now it's 20 years later, that's still the agent that I have. He's amazing and I love him. And then, you know, just, I feel like I had enough of those little gifts in the early years to just kind of keep me afloat. Financially, sort of, but more emotionally, to go, you know, it can be a bleak world when you are, as you were saying, like auditioning. I remember I listened to this interview with, I think it was Felicity Huffman, and she said she went twice in her career, 2 years without booking anything, twice. And I thought, wow, like, how do you emotionally buoy yourself
Yeah.
through that? That's tough. That is very tough. The other thing, though, you know, that I did was when I came to Vancouver, there were a couple actors. I hadn't gone to school with them, but they were in previous years to the program that I was in. So they had also gone to the U of A. They had also done the same program that I had done, but they had graduated a year or 2 years or even like 5 years ahead of me. And we kind of, through a community, we met each other, and we decided we were going to form this like acting group, like audition group, where we were going to do every Sunday without fail. Every Sunday evening, we were going to meet up. We were going to work on auditions together. And if we didn't have an audition, we would just find a scene, or we'd do an audition, or we'd work on an audition that we had done previously, and just get used to making choices with the camera there and kind of figuring it out. And we would do it religiously every single Sunday. We would get together and work on it with each other. And it was so constructive. And we would have a little camera. We would watch it back at the end of the evening. Like, you would do your scene and you'd work on it until you felt good and until they felt like you had broken through something. And then, but it wasn't until the end of the evening that we would watch through it all, and you could go, oh, now I can actually see what worked, what finally clicked. And that was a very imperative learning curve for me. The fact that we did it for years. Like, I want to say we kept it going for, I don't know, maybe 5 years. We would get together every Sunday and do it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that stops people from pursuing what they want to in life, a lot of the times it's because, you know, we're just naturally afraid of what others think of us. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to put ourselves in situations where, you know, we're going to be triggered by some of those feelings, maybe from grade school when we were made fun of for saying something stupid in school. You know, I experienced that, and I loved acting class, and I had fun because for me, acting is a spiritual experience. I just feel like, for me, I tap into like another dimension. It's like for me, it's my church. It's a place where I feel like I connect to other people on a very deep, authentic level. I feel like I understand. I've learned so much from my acting classes about myself. I've learned how to communicate better. And I've learned just how important it is to be authentic and real, and how to talk to people, and in terms of telling them what you need and reaching out and getting out of your comfort zone, and sometimes asking for things that you may not always feel comfortable about. My question to you is, did you ever come up against nerves? And we have a question here from Brian, I think it's Shively. He asks, you seem very poised at all times. Do you ever get nervous performing or speaking in public, or when you first started auditioning like I did you start like sweating profusely and feeling like, I can't breathe, and why is my body starting to shut down like this? Or were you always just kind of more in the zone and just kind of went with your creative juices and enjoyed it?
No, no. Who has that experience?
Never always been poised and like, because you're so just like you just have this wonderful confidence, and it gives people a sense of feeling safe around you. And I knew that in order for me to be a successful actor, I had to learn to I knew I had to become okay with my flaws, and I
Yeah, yeah.
therapy and talk about them and realize that our flaws and our mess is our miracle.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Absolutely. But who has that when they're in their 20s? Nobody has
Right.
that.
Yeah,
No, that's
exactly.
that's that's an unreasonable expectation, I
Okay,
think.
so you're a real normal person. Okay, good.
Uh, no, it was of course it was a process, and it was just more of trial and error of just constantly constantly doing it. I mean there really isn't anything like just doing it and doing the auditions and getting in the room and having to perform, like having to deliver in the moment. And then, I mean, this is the hardest one, is then just walking away. Like at the end of it, just walking away and not like, oh, like getting right into your head about what happened in the room or didn't happen in the room and how like that. I always found that really, really unhelpful. And so I think I did start doing that pretty early on, of just going, I wouldn't really talk about the auditions afterwards. I would never check in with my agent after an audition being like, "Oh, did you get any feedback?" Oh, that was the kiss of death for me. It sent me down a very bad road of just doubt, honestly. And I never felt like that was very helpful. And so I would just do the audition and then I wouldn't really talk about it afterwards and I wouldn't really think about it. And that was
Let it go.
hugely
Move on.
freeing, of just doing that, of like the experience in the room was going to be what it was going to be. I knew I would always do my homework. I was always very prepared. And that was the only thing really in the whole situation that I could control. So I would just do that. I would prep, I would prepare, and then I would just go in there and try and be in the moment and just have that experience, whatever that experience was going to be, and then just walk away and let it go.
Yeah. Can you tell us about one of your worst auditions or experiences where you're like, oh my God, I just
Yeah, yeah.
fall into a hole and die?
I mean, I think some of them, I mean, I've had lots, but one that stands out in my mind, it might not even seem so bad, but I got really in my head in the sense of I went in and I had this idea of the character. The people had seen me previously for maybe other projects or maybe for another role in the project. And then they brought me in for this, and I had read the character, and she was, in my opinion, kind of nerdy and computery and techie. And I had this character worked out where I was like going to wear glasses, and I was not, I wasn't going to, I did this. I wore glasses and I had my hair like all like slicked back. Like I had created visually a character
Mm.
and that I thought was accurate, but I walked in and they were not into it. And they had an expectation of already who I was and what I was going to walk in with. And they immediately were like, "Oh, what are you doing? Like, why you don't wear glasses? Why are you wearing glasses?" And I was like, "Oh, I just," but I actually did wear glasses. And so I couldn't even offer, "Oh, let me take the glasses off for you," because I couldn't see without the glasses. And so I was like, "Well, this was a character choice?" Question mark. and and then they were like, "Oh, and your hair, like what?" And and then I started coming from a place of apologizing for the choices I was making, and that's
Mm.
terrible. Like
Yeah.
that's no good. I should have just owned it and been like, "Yeah, this is what I came up with." And I didn't, though. I think I was very apologetic about it. And then I did the part, I did the role, and I just walked out of there and I just felt really self-conscious. And I think I was questioning every choice that I made
Mhm.
as a character too. So physically, I was questioning what I was looking like, and then emotionally, all my choices I was questioning. It was exactly what I was saying. The last thing you want is doubt, and that I was just riddled with doubt through the whole thing.
Mhm. If you could go back and give yourself a piece of advice before that audition, or maybe when you first started out, what advice would you give yourself?
I think the biggest thing is just don't take yourself so seriously. And I think that it's a common thing that people say, and I just think you don't really understand that until you have some years on you and you have some
Mhm.
experience under your belt, and you can look back and just go, it's just it just is what it is, and it's just keep going forward, and have fun. Like, this is the process. The auditions are the process, and that is acting, and just have fun with that. And I wish I had had some idea of that at the time.
Yeah. You talked a little bit earlier about how you've had a little bit of luck in your career. Uh,
Mhm.
do you believe in like the law of attraction, power of manifestation, in the sense that we create our own luck in life?
I don't know, honestly. I really don't know. I don't know if I really believe in that. I believe that uh, I believe in putting energy into the things that you can control, and the all of the other things that you can't control, not really investing in those things, because that's going to be an unsatisfying result, possibly. And I just think I'm going to do my work. I'm going to do my prep work. I'm going to do my work. I'm going to put as many eggs in my basket as possible, and then let the chips fall where they may. The rest I can't really control. But I think a lot of people don't put the work in, like the actual work, the real work. I always had a strong belief that my acting my acting work, the actual acting work, not the connections, not the networking or whatever, my actual acting had to be strong enough to speak for itself. That's what I always ultimately felt. And so that's where I was going to invest my energy into, is I was going to invest my energy into really prepping auditions, or really creating that group where we could work together. And that group evolved, because obviously we weren't going to just keep on doing audition prep for 5 years. We started going, okay, well, let's pick scenes that are more challenging. Let's start writing our own scenes. Let's start filming stuff that is more dynamic, so it's less static of just like an audition, and let's try doing some fun camera work, and and creatively, like, kind of expanding myself that way. And then, anytime I did get on set, just trying to soak up that experience and learn as much as I could.
Mhm. And what would you say is a lesson that you've learned from your acting career that you think anyone could benefit from?
Well, I think there's big lessons and then there's little lessons, but I would say like, this seems like a small thing, but show up prepared. And that's a small thing. It seems like it should be a given that people would show up prepared, but be on time, know your lines, have made some choices, and listen more than you talk, is what I would say.
Yeah, that's a great one. And I'm sure, much like acting has helped me, I'm sure with your relationships, acting has helped you have deeper and more fulfilling connections with people. Would you agree with the things that you've learned from your acting class? It's helped relationships with your family, husband, kids,
Yeah.
and would you say how has it helped in those relationships?
I think the key thing with any actor and any magic you're going to have as an actor is all about being present. And I think that that lesson is probably that is takes you through life, right? Being present with my kids, being really in that moment with them, or being present with my husband and really being in that moment, and that leads to deeper connections and also more of an authentic experience.
Yeah.
So I think it's just that idea of being present in that moment, because anytime I've had that magic in a scene or in acting, it's been when I have, done all my prep work leading up to it. And then I've kind of thrown caution to the wind and
Mm.
just gone on the ride and rode the wave through the scene of wherever it's going to take you. Because you've done your prep work and now you can just be present and in that moment with your scene
Mhm.
partner or scene partners. And that's life too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned is just being in the moment. Like you said, doing it and then just letting it go, move on, not look back. That saying, don't look in the rearview mirror because you're not going that way. And sometimes I even put that on my iPhone as my screensaver because it's hard when we're auditioning, and sometimes our auditions may be 3, 4, 5, or 6 auditions before you get the role. And I've always described auditioning like dating, and the more that you date someone, you start to develop feelings, you get more emotionally invested, and it's almost like The Bachelor, where you've got it. They narrow it down to like 3 or 4, and then you're vying for it, and then at the very end, if you don't get the rose, you know I'm always like amazed at watching these people like on The Bachelor crying, and you're like, well, you just met this guy, or like you just met like, but I get it, because some of the roles that I've gone up for that I didn't get, it can really hurt, just because sometimes sometimes it's hard not to imagine what that role would be like. But I think, like we were just talking about here, I think it's so important to just take the time to acknowledge your feelings, not squash them, not ignore them, but then just focus on the next opportunity. And I think that's what's great about life, is that sometimes we think that we blew that opportunity and it's never going to come around again. But I always, and that's why I asked you if you believe in the law of attraction and power of manifestation and abundance, because I think there's always opportunity. There's always something that if we focus on the things that we care about, that we love, and we focus our attention on, like you were talking about, um, I believe we create our own luck, just because of
The thing is, and I guess why I'm hesitant to talk to to say that I believe in it is more to do with the fact that sometimes you think that you're manifesting something and it doesn't happen, but it does happen, just not in the way that you're envisioning it. And so sometimes you're handed like the gifts that you need, not the one. Well, I think you're always handed the gifts that you need, not the ones that you want.
mm, that's a good saying. Yeah, yeah, I think that's powerful. Um, what would you say has been? Well, let me ask you this: the audition for "Wind Calls the Heart." What was that like?
Well, it was honestly, it was a bit crazy in the sense that I didn't really know at that time the show was not on the air yet. It was season 1, which hang on, I'm fixing this. Okay. It was season 1, hadn't aired yet. I was on another TV series. I was like a series regular on another show. And so I kind of went in just on a lark to be like, oh, and it was at that time, it was just supposed to be I thought it was supposed to be just a 2-episode guest arc. And so I thought, oh, this seems like something fun to do in my hiatus, during my hiatus of my other show.
Mhm.
It was a period piece that was intriguing to me. And so I went in, and the character was really fun. And so went in and did the audition. And then they called me back, did the audition again. And then I think I got the part. And through that, they hadn't given me the scripts. So I only had my side, like the audition scenes. And it wasn't until I booked the role that they gave me the scripts for the 2 episodes I was going to appear in. And then the final episode, it was the final episode of season 1, and they said, my last line of my character says, "Oh, I'm not going anywhere. I'm moving," something along the lines of, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm moving into the town and I'm going to stay here." And I was like, "Oh, what? They think I'm staying. We'll see how this goes." I was a bit curious, like, because I was committed to another show. And then the show started airing. It didn't take off like gangbusters right away, but my other show during that hiatus ended up getting canceled. And so it got canceled. And literally the day after it got canceled, our executive producer, Brad Cravoy, he then phoned me and he said, "Hey, I want to know what your availability is, because we want to bring you on as a regular on When Calls the Heart." And I said, "Oh, well, your timing's really perfect, because my show was just canceled yesterday." And then never looked back. That's how it just kind of unfolded. So I didn't even really know what I was getting into at the time. I just thought it was like a fun little thing that I could do during the hiatus from my other show, and then cut to what I'm doing for 10 years.
Yeah. Did you feel confident about your audition when you went in?
I did. I did. I think I had gone in with one idea, because the character was very performative. And so I came in with that idea. And then they had this idea of that it was more, there was a duality. There was like the public persona and then the private persona. And that was a really great note to get in the audition, that she had this kind of duality to her. And so we played with that in the audition of this, when was she kind of presentational in public, and more of her, because she's an actor. And so not that all actors are like that, but this actor, she was. And that it was like, when are those moments where she's kind of putting on a show, and when are the moments that she's more real and vulnerable? And that for her to be a relatable character, she needed to have those quieter, more vulnerable moments, right?
Mm-hmm. So 10 years, what would you say is the reason why this show has been so successful?
Without a doubt, it's our fans. That's why the fans found this show, this tiny little show 10 years ago, and they created a community around it, and they built it and built it and built it. Our show, I love our show, and I think our show offers a very unique voice in the wide expanse of TV being produced in the last 10 years. There's been nothing really ever that's compared or competed with our show. But as you and I both know, there's a lot of original and brilliant content being produced all the time,
Yep.
and it doesn't last. And the reason we've had this longevity, the reason it's lasted, is because we've found this audience that believes in our show and believes in what the message of our show is so strongly, that our numbers and our audience has grown year after year after year. I don't know almost any show that can say that, even ones that have lasted for 10 years. Normally there's like sometimes there's like a season 1, like lightning bolt, and then it kind of goes down from there. Or sometimes it builds up around season 3 and then kind of plateaus. But we've steadily built season after season after season. That's just almost unheard of. And
Yeah.
I think that's because of our audience. Like, that's because of our fans that just believe in the show and get the word out and bring their friends, bring their children into the show, and then their children talk about the show. Like, and it's multi-generational. The show is appealing. You can sit down with your grandma and your child, and everybody's enjoying it together. And that just doesn't happen very often with many shows. It just doesn't.
Yeah. So obviously it's relatable on a lot of different levels. And
yeah, and I think it's aspirational too. I think in a world that can feel very isolating and kind of internal, our show is all about community. It's all about how do we come together? How do we help people through hard times? How do we come together to celebrate the good times? It's about a community that comes together, and in an idyllic kind of way, in an aspirational way. I think it's what everybody would love, to have that community that really builds each other up and supports one another, and people like watching it for that reason.
Yeah, I would imagine you're a surrogate family for millions of people.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. What would you say you've learned from playing Rosemary over these past 10 years?
Well, on a practical note, I've learned how to grow and evolve with a character over a long period of time. That's something not a lot of actors get to do. How many actors get to play the same character for
Right.
10 years? And I think early on in my career, I probably would have thought, oh, that doesn't sound exciting. I want a new challenge all the time, a new character, a new show, a new challenge. But this came along, and it's been so wonderful and challenging in that way of like growing with a character over time. And how do you find new layers and new depth after season 8, 9, 10? Like, how do we keep digging deeper? And I love that. I actually really love that. And especially because I'm literally the only person that's been with this character since its conception. Like, we've had different writers, we've had different showrunners, we've had different directors. I'm the only one who's been with this character for every moment of every episode. And so there's a confidence that also comes with that, of going, I know this character and I know what is right for how to play this role, how she approaches life. And so that's been creatively a really interesting process. But I mean, bigger life lessons of just how much I truly, truly value a work experience with people I love. That makes the experience. I'm sure you've had experiences, and I certainly have, of going into a show that is kind of toxic. Like, it's just a toxic off-camera vibe, and that's
Yeah.
terrible. That's terrible. You're there for too many hours and too long to have that be the situation. And I love When Calls the Heart because it genuinely is so positive, and the people that I get to work with genuinely are some of my best friends in the whole world. And there's no ego, there's no hierarchy. Everybody's there for the same reason, and it's so fun. Like, it's fun. You should have fun at work. It should be joyful. And that's been a gift, but also a good learning lesson. My dad said early on to me, I was doing a play actually, and it was a long run. It was a play that was running for a few months, and it was starting to get a bit toxic-y, like negative energy and people kind of talking about each other about behind their back. And my dad just said, be the person that comes to work with positive energy, and that will be contagious. That will spread quicker than the negativity that's happening in the workplace. But you need to do it. There needs to be somebody who kind of helms that, and you be that person. And that stayed with me through my whole career. It's ultimately that saying, be the change you want to see. And so if you want a positive work experience, be positive.
Yeah, toxicity is the killer of creativity.
Absolutely. And it just takes up so much energy. It
Yeah.
takes so much energy. And that's energy that I don't have, and I don't want to spend that way.
Yeah. We've got an interesting question from Zulema Avis. Who won the tortilla slap between you and Aaron Krakow?
Well, 100% I won it, because
Of course.
although maybe you could say I was the ultimate loser because I got like a huge spray of water in my face. I won the actual tortilla part, but I definitely paid the price because I was showered with water, and we were heading to set like in less than 10 minutes. And so we had to run into the hair and makeup trailer. I was having my face and my hair blow dried to like dry off.
Well, Christine Hedrick says Aaron Krakow speaks highly of you. So that's good to hear. So we talked about being in the moment and being present and letting things go and moving on. Have there been things in your life that you've felt passionate about that you've had to fight for?
I mean, yeah, I think any actor probably has had to have moments that you've had to fight to stay the course, like to
Mhm.
have the stamina to keep going. There's obviously moments where you're going, this is too hard. This is this is too hard with too few rewards. And I, I'm I'm
Just like
assuming
the work
I'm
schedule, like the hours or
no, I mean like before that, before you even get to that point,
yeah,
going through times where you're just not having any going through times where you're just not booking
yeah,
work or you're not being offered anything and there's no creative reward. There's no
right,
creative feedback that's saying, yes, you should be doing this. Yes, you
yeah,
belong here. And that it's really hard to like summon up that courage and go, no, I am going to keep going. This is not the moment that I walk away from this. The other thing is I mean, this is kind of sounds like a different kind of fight, but I thought it was my big break. I had gone down to LA for my very first pilot season and I booked a pilot and it was for I want to say it was for Fox maybe or NBC. It was like a big network show and I was so excited and shot the pilot and was really excited about it and then found out that they had edited it. They were really excited about it. Phoning the writers of the show, the showrunners were phoning me being like, oh my God, you did so great. We love the product. We've got all this positive feedback.
yep,
And
I've
then,
been there.
yeah, well, just wait. It may not have been as bad as mine might not have been. Mine might be worse than yours. Because then at the end, then getting the call going, oh yeah, and the show got picked up, but you didn't get picked up. And so I was let go from the pilot and I was felt totally blindsided by it. And you feel like, how did I do such a terrible job that they're letting it go? They're going to reshoot the pilot without me and recast it as somebody else. And it felt really personal. And definitely I cried. And then I just had this moment. It was a moment of clarity, but I guess it was also like a fighting moment of going, no, this is not my defining moment in my career. Not at least not defining in a bad way.
Mhm,
This is not the moment that is going to make or break my career. This
mhm,
just isn't. And it was like this real like bubbling up of like willpower of going, no, this isn't it. I'm going forward and there are more things. There's more moments for me that are going to happen and I actually don't know what that's about and I'll probably never know what that was about,
mhm.
but it's not the defining moment for me.
Yeah,
And it was so clear to me. Like I obviously had like a period of being just sad and wallowing in it, but then it just kind of was almost like this light bulb moment for me of going, no, no,
mhm.
this isn't it. I've got more.
Yeah, that shows a lot about who you are and your resiliency. And I've been there too. I had 3-year contract with all my children, and most of the other actors, had been there for years. And when
Mhm.
it came time for my contract was about to end, and our producer called me up, and what I thought was going to be her telling me that they were, going to be renewing my contract was the conversation was, we're killing you off.
Oh
And it
no.
was like, it literally felt like a sucker punch because
Oh, it's just so bad.
and like after working with these actors for 3 years, and they essentially felt like my family, and I mean stuff like that. It can really hurt.
Oh, big
Yeah,
time. Big
yeah,
time.
and like you said, it took me a little bit of time to just process it and realize, okay, in the grand scheme of things, am I going to let this define me as an actor? Am I going to let this be the end of it? And the answer was easily no. I mean, there's
Mhm.
so much more opportunity out there,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where had that not happened, then
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I mean. The gifts you need, not the gifts that you want.
All these amazing
100%.
things would have never happened had I
Yes.
just stayed there. And what I realized why I wanted to stay there wasn't when I really was honest with myself. And I think this is important that we just are honest with ourselves, because I think a lot of the times we choose things because it's safe rather than what we really want. And when I really asked myself that question, I was like, did I get into acting to spend my career on a soap opera? Soap opera is a great job. I was blessed and I was so grateful to have those 3 years. But when I really asked myself and was honest, as like
You're like, no,
serious
that
it was, I was like,
isn't what I thought. Yeah.
I want to be in movies. I want to do primetime TV. And I was like, all right, well then what do I got to do to make that happen? So I jumped back into acting class, and it's just, you get back to doing what you need to do. Put your ego at the door and
Yeah.
get to work and do what you need to do if you really care about it.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, that's what I think gets back to what I was saying originally, which is just like focus on the work. My work has to
Yeah.
be good enough
Yeah.
to 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 open those doors for me. That has to be enough.
Yeah.
But so many people don't want to do that. They think they can just show up for the work, and they're
Mm.
going to invest a lot of all their energy into more of the, I don't know, I'm going to get the right headshots and I'm going to do this, and yes, that's one piece of it, but
Mhm.
I think a bigger piece is just the work. Like, how are you as an actor?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Um, what's and I don't know if you'll have an answer to this. What's an insult that you've gotten that you're proud of?
Okay, let me think.
Tell me yours, I'll tell you mine.
Okay, so wait, like an insult that I've got from somebody, well, one time I was told by a director, and I actually still to this day, I think it was an insult, but it was a bit backhanded, but I took it actually as a great compliment. He said, "You know what? When I write," it was actually a showrunner. He wrote something, and he's like, a writer, and he said, "When I write things for you, I envision it one way, and you never do it that way." And I was like, I am so happy. Internally, I was like, I am so happy, because I actually aspire to try and like always do something original and different and unexpected. And
Yeah.
I could see as a writer, he was very annoyed by that.
That's great. Mine is, I'm told I'm too sensitive.
Oh, and
And
as
I
an
think
actor,
that
like,
I think that's one of my superpowers.
yeah, exactly. And as an actor, I mean, that's kind of almost goes with the territory, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
who were you
Um,
told that by? Like, was it a friend, or was it somebody in the workplace?
I've been told
Or
by
multiple. Everywhere you go, everyone's like, "You're too sensitive."
everyone, yeah, everyone. Mom, my mom has even said,
Oh, okay.
like,
That's how
"Mom,
mom.
leave me alone." Like, love you, mom. Uh, but anyway, Pascal, thank you so much. You've like shared some really insightful, amazing stuff here. It's been delightful talking to you.
What a wonderful chat. I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, thank you. And at this point, I'd love for you to share with us your Particular Pick 6. Have you ever heard of the app Particular?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so my buddy created it. It's a movie curating app. It's kind of like Tinder where you can swipe left or right for
Oh, okay.
like movies will pop up, movie suggestions that are like new and old, and you can either swipe left if you don't like it, swipe right if you do, if you're interested in it. If it's
Yeah.
one of your favorite movies, you swipe up to the lit list, and if it's an absolutely piece of crap, you swipe down to the shit list. So you can curate movies and then share them with your friends. It's like a social media sharing platform. So it's a
Okay.
really cool way to like discover new movies and share them with your friends.
Okay.
Okay. So the Particular Pick 6 questions are, and you guys can go to download Particular. And then what's great about this app too, Pascal, is like once you find a movie that you like, a lot of the times who knows where to watch it, right? There's so many platforms out there. I don't know where my movies are. So when you tell us your 6 movies tonight, you can go to particular, type the movie in, and it'll show you where it's available to watch.
Very handy, very
Yes.
handy. That is a big frustration, having
Yes,
to search, what, 6 different platforms to find the movie.
exactly. Exactly. So the first question is, what is your favorite movie of all time?
This is such an unfair question.
I know it's impossible.
How do you pick? It's like Sophie's Choice. But my general go-to over the years that has stayed with me for a long time is True Romance with Patricia Arquette and
Oh,
Christian Slater.
amazing.
Love it, right?
Amazing, amazing. And like every famous actor in Hollywood was in that movie
I
before
know, I
he
know.
became famous. Like Brad Pitt,
Skyrocketed everybody. Yeah.
Adrian Feeney, I mean, you name it.
Brad Pitt was in it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them.
And
Yeah,
like little cameo kind of roles too. It's like
yeah,
genius.
yeah.
Yeah, great movie. Um, what was your favorite movie growing up as a kid?
Growing up as a kid, my parents were really big into cinema actually, so I really liked, like I loved Amadeus growing up. We watched that a lot actually, and also old movies, anything with Fred Astaire, like Top Hat or Shall We Dance. Those were classics for me. So- Amadeus or Top Hat.
What did you like about Amadeus?
You know what? I've always been intrigued by that that character. We've seen that type of character, the kind of eccentric genius and how they function in the world. I've always thought that that was really fascinating, and I love that. And I think that that's just a tour de force performance there.
Awesome. And because it is the holidays, what would you say your favorite holiday movie is?
Personally, always Love Actually, always.
Yes. Yep, that's one of my top faves as well.
Who doesn't love it?
Yes. Watching Hugh Grant dance.
Hugh Grant dance, and then Liam Neeson at that funeral. It's like breaks my heart. I mean, there's so many wonderful moments.
Thompson, when her performance is just stellar, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your favorite comedy of all time?
Oh, without a doubt. The one that's made me laugh the hardest is Spy with Melissa McCarthy.
Really?
There's
Okay.
something about that movie. Her performance, her comedic timing just literally had me laughing off the couch, like fell off the couch. I was laughing so hard. I love it so much.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
Oh my gosh, you haven't even watched it?
I haven't seen it. I have to see. I have to see it because I'm actually working on producing a movie that I want Melissa to be the lead character in it.
Well, you can't go to her and ask her to
I
be in
know.
your
I have to
and
watch.
not have watched Spy. It's
Yes,
so
yes.
good. I
Yeah.
think she even wrote it and produced it as well with her husband.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. Who is your favorite actor or male character in a movie?
Oh, actor or male character. Those are so totally different. Um, um, male actor that I really love. I mean, I am a big fan of, I am a big Tom Cruise fan. I really love the Mission Impossibles. I loved Top Gun and Maverick. He's got something. He's got that intensity that just draws me in every single time I watch him.
Definitely. What would you say your favorite Tom Cruise movie is?
Well, right now we've watched Maverick because my kids really like it too. We've watched a lot. So, I mean, that really is,
Yeah.
that role was tailored for him and just aged like a fine wine, that initial Maverick to then the older Maverick. So that's popping into my head as like my favorite, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to say Jerry Maguire.
And Jerry Maguire, obviously, that one was great as well, for sure.
Yep. And finally, who's your favorite actress or female character in a movie?
Yeah. My favorite my favorite actress, I really do love Melissa McCarthy. I love her. I think she's funny, but I think she always grounds all her comedy in reality, and I think that that is brilliant and exciting.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. She's grounded. She's relatable. She's funny as hell, and yeah, she's wickedly funny. So that's why I want her to be in my movie. So
Yeah, obviously.
that's what I'm manifesting, Pascal. Um, what are you manifesting for 2023?
Uh, Kevin and I really want to produce and develop another movie. We've got a few irons in the fire, and
Mhm.
I would really like to see. There's stuff we've been working on for a while now, and I would like to see that stuff actually get off the ground this year, I think.
And you've produced, what was it?
The
The
You Had Me at Aloha, we
yeah,
produced that.
yeah,
So, yeah, so we came up with the idea for that and then pitched that to Hallmark, and they agreed to develop it with us all on as producers, and that was amazing. We loved that project from, like, its conception all the way through. It was just a dream project for, I think, everybody involved, and um, I would love to the chance to do that again. Kevin and I love working together, and when you find that person that you just creatively click with, you
mm,
just wanna create more projects to do together.
yeah. Well, next time you see him, please tell him I said hi.
I will.
And when is season 10 of When Calls the Heart going to be premiering?
Um, I don't know if there's an exact, date yet, but it's gonna be, I think, in July, June or July of 2023, which is a bit, unheard of. Normally, we premiere in, like, February or March, but it's gonna be a bit later this year, so
Okay.
a summer binge for our fans.
All right. Well, everyone stay tuned for that. And then do you have any other projects coming out, Pascal?
I do. I mean, I have a movie that we filmed last year or this year, I guess, but last spring, for Paramount Plus. It's called Double Life, but I don't know what it's coming out on Paramount Plus in the new year, but I don't know when it'll drop. So
What's that about?
stay tuned. It's something totally different. It is not Hallmark fare at all, which is probably what I think people expect from me at this time. But it's more of it's like a thriller suspense, and it's about these two women who, um, this man dies. It's my husband, but he had a mistress on the side, and he ends up getting murdered. And so these two women kind of get thrown together unintentionally and unexpectedly to try and figure out what happened to him. And that's obviously a tricky, complicated dynamic. And so that's kind of the premise for the movie. And so it was like high stakes drama and really intense, but um, also exciting, and
Yeah.
car chases and stuff like that. So it was fun. It was a really big breath of fresh air. You talk about manifestations. That is one thing going into 2022. I said I really want something that is outside the box of where I've been working and living for a long time. I want something that's going to really challenge me creatively, just some different creative juices going. And then this project came along really out of the blue, and I read it and I thought, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I've been looking for. This is just something so totally different."
See, manifestation work.
Manifestation. So there you go.
All right, Pascal, thank you so much for being here. And I wish you continued success. Uh, I mean, you are absolutely beautiful in every way, and just can't thank you enough for being here tonight and sharing your beautiful positivity and insight. And have an amazing holiday and a great new year.
Thank you. Likewise. Likewise.
Awesome. Take care. See you in the new year. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your questions. And thanks for your contribution to making all of this happen. Again, if it wasn't for you guys, this obviously the show wouldn't exist, and just having you guys here while we're having this conversation just makes it that much more special. So we're coming up on the holiday, right? I wish you guys all the best, and I know this time of year it's sometimes can be amazing and great for some people, and for others it can be a little challenging because of family and travel and all that good stuff. But I think it's important to remember the reason why the holidays are around. It's not about the presents. It's not about stressing about how much a gift is or what it is. It's really just important about spending time with each other and really truly communicating with each other why what people mean to you and why they matter. And I guarantee you that means more than any present could possibly mean to anyone. And I think a lot of the times we just don't tell people what they mean to us, and sometimes it's too late. So I would encourage you guys all to pick up the phone, maybe even right now after we finish here, and just call someone who you haven't talked to in a bit, and just tell them that you care about them, you're thinking about them, that you love them, and that maybe you want to see them in the holidays or whatnot. I wish you all the best with just all your travels this holiday season. And I think we may be doing another episode before Christmas, but if not, we'll be letting you know when our next episode is going to be airing. And on top of that, you guys have to join me for my holiday hang that's coming up this Friday night. So the holiday hang is the biggest virtual, amazing Christmas party that we're going to be doing on Zoom, and we're going to be doing some mind mapping. So we're going to be doing some talking about 2023 and what we want to manifest and create, and start putting some framework and a blueprint for what we want to accomplish for the new year. We're going to be doing a baking contest. So those of you who have want to demonstrate your baking or cooking prowess, we're going to be wherever you are at in your kitchen. I'm going to be in my kitchen. I'm going to be baking my famous desserts, and you have to come on to the holiday hang to be able to find out what I'm going to be baking. But if you want to join us, you can get your ticket at on my Instagram profile. So just go to my Instagram, and there's a little drop-down menu to purchase your ticket. And we're going to be giving out prizes for the top 3 winners. We're going to be judging the best desserts at the end of the holiday hang. It is from, I believe it's from 5 p.m. Pacific time, which would be, I guess it would be 8 o'clock Eastern time. So from 8 Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern. So it's 3 hours. We're going to be doing some mind mapping, and we're going to be doing, we're going to be playing some music. We're going to be doing some sharing, possibly do some breakout rooms to be talking about what we want to manifest for the new year. I think what's great about all of this is having someone to hold you accountable for what you are up to. So if you want an accountability person or buddy, we're going to be offering that opportunity to do that. So again, this Friday night, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a great way to start kicking off the holiday season, and just a fun way for us to create, because that is one of the things that keeps me alive and makes me feel like I'm contributing, is when I'm creating and when I feel like I'm making a difference. So I'm inviting you guys all to join me this Friday. Again, you can go to my Instagram link bio and click on the link down there, and get your ticket. And again, prepare your recipe for the baking contest. And we might even be doing some singing and some dancing. Who knows? See how crazy we get. Anyway, thanks again for being here tonight. And I will see you guys all very soon. Take care. Sending you lots of love. Be safe. And see you guys all very soon. All right.